Tim, how are you today?
I'm very well, Sam. I'm doing nicely. Could do with COVID going away, but apart from that, I'm on it.
Well, this is, I think, the first interview I'm going to do of another series, let's say. I'm going to try and interview all the departments in school.
As the smallest department in the school, it's easy to start at the beginning then.
I know. One of my favorite departments too, I must say.
You've done your exam now, you don't need to say that.
I know. I don't even take music anymore, but it would be a shame. I mean, it is a shame.
It is a real shame you're still not doing music, but I will get you playing something.
Please do. So, some things our listeners, not viewers, would like to know is, what's your career? As in, how did you get to Swans? What have you been doing before Swans?
Okay, right. Well, before then I was living in Jersey and I taught at the same school for 21 years, which was only my ever second school. I did 5 years in one school, did 21 years in my last school, and then I came to Swans. So in my old school, I took over a department that had absolutely nothing, and then over that time we built it up into a huge department with lots of bands and orchestras and the bands going and lots of stuff. And
do the same in Swans?
After 21 years of doing the same school in a small island like Jersey, it was really time to move on. I'd done practically everything I could do there, and it was just time to go. So we thought, this is a good time to leave. Let's see where we can go. Let's go and explore Europe before Brexit kicks in. So the idea was to try and get into Europe before Brexit, and saw the job came up for Swans and thought it looked perfect.
Cool. Have you always been a teacher, or did you work as a music player?
I've always been a teacher, but I've always gigged and played as well while doing it. My main thing is I'm a conductor, so I used to do lots with bands, and people would get me to come and either play for them or to conduct and take their bands and stuff. So I used to do a lot with that, especially around the UK. So I'd go travel quite a lot doing that, but I was still always a teacher, so it was always as my second job doing it. And then I do things like playing in pit orchestras for musicals, or just gigging in different bands and pubs and things and around like that. So yeah, a bit of a gigging musician, but I've always been a teacher as my main job.
What did you say it was called? A director or
musical director?
Musical director. So it's a position, let's say, in a band which gets criticized as the man who waves the stick or the wand. What do you have to say to that?
Only, but that's Miss Angela usually says that, only by people who don't know what really happens. The job of the conductor is to bring all of the performance together. So what you don't see is all the work that goes in rehearsals, and that's what the conductor does. So the conductor directs everything for how it should go, what's not working properly, how to make it, how to put things right, how to tie everything together. And the only section that is either seen by the audience is the final performance. And by the time you get to the final performance, it should be so sorted that you probably don't need the conductor to do it. The band can do it without you. But what they don't see is all the work that goes on before you get to that stage, when you're actually doing it. And so it's not just waving your arms around, it actually does a lot of things in it.
You're also a trumpet player, right?
Yes, I'm a trumpet player. So that's when I used to play in bands, would be from playing.
Would you say that's your favourite instrument?
Yeah, trumpet's my favourite instrument. But the problem with trumpet is, trumpet and cornet, is you have to keep with it all the time. Otherwise, the muscles in your lips go, and you can't play. So even though the technique still knows where it should go, it's like weightlifting. You can't turn up and pick up where you were picking up 10 years ago straight away without all the work. And at the moment in Spain, I've not got anyone to go and play with, so I was looking for a band to go and join. And the Malaga band had asked me to go along to go and play, or I'd arranged to go and do that literally a week before COVID hit us. So I had my old cornet, one of my old instruments, I'd had sent back over from England, and I'd sent it for repair and restoration. It was all looking nice and gleaming ready, and I was doing a little bit of practice and getting myself ready to go and have an audition, and it never took place.
Shame, I mean, COVID.
Yeah.
Important question, music-wise. Piano or guitar?
Oh, it depends what you're doing. Guitar, if I'm twizzling around just playing on my own. Piano, if you need to lead or direct things and fill things in. Because piano can fill in more than a guitar can.
Yeah, true. But
from
as an overall
pure
instrument.
For fun, guitar.
Yeah, I agree with that choice. I mean, I would say guitar in any
Absolutely, yeah. Plus, the cooler people play guitar.
Yeah. How are you managing the department with only one member?
Well, I have got Mr. Hargreaves with me as well.
Oh,
He's
Mr.
looking
Hargreaves.
after Year 7 and helping me do Year 7s and things. It's going quite well at the moment because we're not doing a show because of COVID and we can't do all the extra bands and things. That's made it a little easier being a one-person department for it. But a major thing has been everybody now having their own computers, which has meant that I can do lots of help tutorials and films and things, so that it makes it slightly easier to get around a class on my own doing things rather than everything on me all the time with it. So it's going quite well. I would like a larger department, and hopefully we'll build back towards that. But at the moment, it's fine.
What would you say to someone to convince them to take music GCSE or music IB?
Well, the thing is, if you're going to take music to a higher level, you need to ask yourself why you're doing it. And there are lots of different reasons why you could do it. It could be that you just like music. It could be that you're really good at music. Those two things aren't necessarily always the same as well. But the main thing for anybody taking music is you've got to be committed to practicing, because music is all about making music. And if you're not going to make music, there's not much point in doing it. So if you don't want to stand on stage and perform, or if you don't want to write your own music, then there's no point in doing it. But if you want to, then you should. And ultimately, music shows lots of things that other subjects don't show. It shows that you've got teamwork and cooperation, because otherwise you could never play in a band. It shows you've got perseverance and resilience, because practicing is very often boring, but you have to stick at it. And it's very often frustrating. So you've got to have that resilience to get over the frustration that your fingers just won't move in the right place. And there's no way around it but slowly practicing it over and over and over, and not just giving up, because giving up's always the easiest thing in the world.
Yeah.
And so my mantra is always, anybody can play anything. You've just got to practice in the right way, and 90% of it is in your brain rather than in your fingers. And as long as you've got that, you can be a musician.
What benefits do you get from music apart from a job, obviously?
Well, like I said, it shows. I mean, if you were going to do a job in medicine, or you're going to do a job as a vet or something, then admittedly, a music qualification doesn't seem like it's something that would be relevant, but it actually is relevant, because it has lots and lots of skills to be a musician that are applicable to those jobs. So not even showing the employer, an employer will look at it and they'll say, actually, if that person can play that instrument, that didn't happen without the work and perseverance that's gone into it. So it says a lot about your character before you've done it. It shows that you've got, what I said earlier, perseverance and resilience. It shows that you can work in teams and groups and things, and you've got that ability to do it. But it also shows, an artistic creativeness as well, and ultimately there's much more to life than just money and working on things. The really important things in life are the arts and music, and that's what makes the whole point of everything else.
And just to finish up, we were talking before about the shows and the musicals. What goes behind all of those shows? What's your job behind them? What does it take to bring that amazing show like we did last year with?
Well, doing a show is always you always work obviously with the drama department for it, and it's usually a total partnership when you're doing it. The drama teacher will always be the director of how the whole thing goes, but it's the job of the musician to make sure that all the songs and all the music and everything work, and that everybody knows their parts for it, and all of the singing and everything into it, and the band and everything that goes into the background. So again, it's one of those things you can actually see. You don't see the band, because the band will be sat in the pit orchestra. So I've done musicals in the past where we've come out and people in the audience have actually thought that it was a recording for the pit band instead, which is about the best compliment you can ever play to a pit orchestra, because that's their job, is to sound spot on every time. But it is a very difficult, tricky job, as you well know.
Yeah, it is. So what's next year? Any shows, any upcoming events that we're hoping for?
We are, with the drama department, we are desperate to do a show. We've got a couple of ideas that we would like to do. We're still looking at The Little Shop of Horrors, which is a great fun musical to be able to do. Maybe we're looking at School of Rock as a possibility to be able to do.
That's a good one.
But we are looking at lots of them. Although I have just been watching Hamilton, but that might be a few years away yet. That's a great musical. Highly recommended. Go and watch Hamilton on Disney+.
Cool. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Tim. Any
Thanks so much.
last words you want to say to sign it off as a music department?
I'll sign it off as music department, because the most important thing is food. So I'm going for my lunch.
Cool. Thank you very much.